100%. Not everybody deserves to be a parent. That is my hot take. I don't think it is one, but if you are going to do disturbing stuff like this, I don't think you should be allowed to have a child in this world. Your body is rejecting you. That is how disgusting of a person you are. A good director would do that cares about their actors. But again, we all know Dan Snyder cares about his actors' feet more than he cares about his actors' feelings. You really need to be a parent to know that starving your child's a bad thing. I don't think anyone has to have a kid to know that's a bad thing. Welcome back to my channel, everybody. If you know me, you know who I am. If you don't, my name is Trey Fab. I'm a React content creator. I like to make different React content, whether that be to TikTok, YouTube, drama nonsense, or that be to basketball, different basketball content in general, in the modern NBA. So if you like basketball insight, I'm the guy for you. And if you like drama brain rot, I'm the guy for you. With that being said, today we're going to be reacting to Patrick CC's Jennette McCurdy's, or Jennette's Nightmare, Miranda's Legacy. This is about iCarly, so we're going to see what he is talking about. Happy Mother's Day, guys. I'm not dropping this on Mother's Day, but at the time of making this, it's Mother's Day. I'm going to see my mom today. Not my birth mom. If you guys are fans of me, you know that my birth mom kind of sucks, and I don't know what she's up to since she left me like 20 years ago, but the person that raised me ever since my birth mom left me. So I got to go see her. I got finals to take next week, and I got a lot of shit to study for. So right now I'm recording some videos to have ready for you guys, pre-recorded, good to go. I got my video essay dropping on Wednesday, so make sure you pay attention to that. But besides all that, intro out the way, let's crack this out, huh?
Set of the most popular live-action show in Nickelodeon history, iCarly, Miranda Cosgrove and Jennette McCurdy appeared to be great friends, and they were. However, Jennette was suffering, and nobody knew about it. Jennette was forced into acting by an abusive mother who did things you would not wish on your worst enemy, but she couldn't escape because on set she was being manipulated by a powerful Nickelodeon showrunner.
Yeah, this guy is disgusting. This guy is absolutely disgusting. Just like the little shit that I've heard about Dan Snyder, that's his name. Disturbing individual, and it's kind of shocking that he was able to work in a field with mostly like kids, for sure, especially the stories that have come out about him and how I understand that her parent was terrible towards her, and I do feel bad, but I don't understand how there wasn't a single parent in this field that was able to step up and say, hey, what the fuck are you doing with my kid? It is so disturbing to hear these stories of like Hollywood and shit, and how time and time again the parents just fail their kids, and it's sad as fuck.
Stop laughing at the director. Show some respect, Jennette. Respect. No smiling. All right. Take $100 off her check.
Miranda, on the other hand, was raised in a loving home with parents who worked hard to keep her emotionally secure. Without realizing it, Miranda became a part of a story far more tragic than she could have imagined, and the choices she made would change Jennette's life forever. This is the dark side of iCarly, how one young girl thrived while the other barely survived. Jennette's life started out as nothing short of hell on earth. Born in Southern California to a poor Mormon family, Jennette grew up witnessing her mom, Deborah McCurdy, battle stage 4 breast cancer. After learning about her diagnosis, Deborah became a hoarder, attaching meaning and significance to even the tiniest objects.
Mormon and a hoarder. Let me tell you something. I am not hating on any religion. I want to make that completely clear. But if your religion was founded by a guy in the 1800s in America talking about he found some gold tablets in a fucking hole and no one else can see these tablets but him, I'm gonna question your religion just a wee bit. Just a wee bit, lad.
Their home quickly became suffocated by overwhelming piles of random stuff. It got so bad that Jennette and her brothers could no longer sleep in their own bedrooms and had to resort to gymnastic mats laid on the floor in the living room. It really did not feel like a home. It felt like a place of chaos and of turmoil and turbulence. Jennette's mother always dreamed of being an actor, so she projected her own unattainable aspirations onto her daughter. And despite her daughter being a shy and uncomfortable performer, she was clearly a promising young talent, making guest appearances on Mad TV, CSI, Malcolm in the Middle, and Law & Order. Deborah's need for control went beyond strict parenting and managing her daughter's acting career. It was an all-consuming obsession that dictated every facet of Jennette's existence. She would shower Jennette for her until she was 11, oftentimes putting Jennette and her 16-year-old brother in the shower together. She shaved her legs for her.
See, this is absolutely disturbed, bro. Some parents just should not allowed to be parents. The fact that Jennette's one of those. This is a story because I haven't heard anything crazy about Jennette. I haven't heard about her going out on any crazy path or doing any crazy shit. Now, if she would have, I would have called her out. But just like Justin, I would have said, hey, I can kind of understand why she led the path she led, even though it's not okay and we should call her out for her bad actions. I still think it's understandable to know her past because that probably led to where she is today. But the fact that she went through all of this and her entire, as much as I know, hopefully Patrick brings up anything I may not know of, but as far as her adulthood and everything she's done since iCarly, she's been squeaky fucking clean. She's been squeaky fucking clean. So the fact that she was able to go through all this just disturbed shit as a child and make it out the other end squeaky clean, hey, she's better than most people. That is insane. So yeah, it's just some people should not be parents. Some people should not be parents. That's just 100%. Not everybody deserves to be a parent. That is my hot take. I don't think it is one, but if you are going to do disturbing stuff like this, I don't think you should be allowed to have a child in this world.
And performed routine breast and vaginal exams on Jennette to check her for cancer. Her mom even taught her how to restrict her calories in an attempt to delay puberty and appear younger to land more jobs, essentially encouraging Jennette to become anorexic.
I asked if there was a way that I could stop the boobies from coming in, and she told me, well, there's a thing called calorie restriction. Wow. And it became our sort of secret and our code, and something that, as disturbing as it is, really bonded us. Right. It was our thing. Yep. No one else got this thing. We got this thing. I can look at you from across the room and know you got me and I got you. And we were just in the disease, in the sickness. But there was a connection that the sickness created that I, of course, couldn't see at the time.
Her favorite foods soon became sugar-free popsicles, applesauce, and unsweetened iced tea. And her dinners often consisted of iceberg lettuce with dressing spray and ripped up pieces of low-calorie
dressing spray? What the fuck is that? Jesus Christ. This is so... And you know what's crazy? And if it's brought up, it's brought up. You know what? Fuck bringing it up. I don't even want to bring it up. Let's look it up. I bet you, no charges were brought to this woman. Let's look. I'm so curious. No. Just alleged shit. And you guys know how I am. If something is alleged, I'm never going to be the type of person that's like, oh, it's alleged, therefore 100% guilty, throw them under the jail. I'm not saying Jennette's lying, by the way. There's a lot of signs to be looking at shit like this, and she probably has a lot of proof to back up shit like this, therapist, whatever the case may be. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I'm the type of person that needs to make sure if I'm going to throw someone under the jail, they deserve it. But the fact that there wasn't even an investigation, what is the statute of limitations on this shit? What's the statute of limitations for child abuse? I'm curious. Let's look that up. Statute of limitations for child abuse, I guess. I'm so curious on that. Yeah, it says 20 years. 20 years of the abuse discovery. So 20 years. She definitely should have been at least investigated. Oh, her mother died in 2013. Well, I would say RIP, but I'll just say rest. Just rest. Without the IP. That's probably why. I was curious why she wasn't even investigated, but that's probably why. Yeah. My bad for my impatience, guys. Put that on me. Put that on me if I just would have read right here. See, maybe this is why I should start doing this type of content live. You guys could have yelled at me and said, hey, dumbass, one sentence below. My bad. Let's continue.
Baloney. This also made for a confusing dynamic as Jennette's character on iCarly was obsessed with food, constantly indulging in binge eating, which to her almost felt like a mockery of her real life. But again, nobody knew what Jennette's mother was doing to her. Not only was she a malnourished child, but she also dealt with the same stresses of adult actors on set.
That's a good question. I remember I would cry on several occasions when it just felt like it really got to be too much, and I tell my mom, I don't want to do this anymore, but she would either say like, Nat, you don't mean that, or she'd say, well, we need this. So there were kind of two different arguments that she would hit me back with, and then I'd feel guilty, and, would keep doing it.
Which is why when she landed the role of Sam Puckett on iCarly at age 14, she thought it would be a breakthrough moment. Everything's going to be better. Mom will finally be happy. Her dream has come true. Unfortunately, iCarly was not going to be the saving grace that Jennette had hoped for. But the one bright spot was the close friendship she formed with her co-star, Miranda Cosgrove. Unlike Jennette, Miranda's parents never intended to force their child into the entertainment industry. An agent discovered Cosgrove at a Los Angeles food festival with
okay, so her parents were actually good parents. Nice.
her parents. Her mother, Chris, inspected the business card but remained hesitant to put her child in front of the camera. So they started off slow, first getting her appearances in Burger King commercials and then occasionally auditioning for theater and television roles. However, Miranda's life drastically changed after securing her film debut in the comedy School of Rock. The film stars Jack Black as Dewey Finn, a down-on-his-luck musician who poses as a substitute teacher at a prestigious prep school. He then discovers his students are musically talented and secretly turns them into a rock band to compete in the Battle of the Bands. Cosgrove plays the role of Summer Hathaway, the hilariously uptight and naive band manager.
What's the matter?
You want me to be a groupie?
Well, groupie's an important job.
I research groupies on the internet. They're sluts. They sleep with a band.
School of Rock was unanimously loved by fans and critics, grossing over $131 million at the worldwide box office. Miranda performed the role of a bossy yet charmingly smug child so well that it made her the obvious choice for the role of Megan Parker in the legendary Nickelodeon teen sitcom Drake and Josh.
This was the shit. Drake and Josh was my shit, especially when I was a kid. Love that shit. Drake and Josh, Ed, and Eddie. Everything on Cartoon Network. Courage the Cowardly Dog. That little nigga running around with a gun. If you guys are young, you don't know what I'm talking about, and you thought I just had a schizo moment. But, great show. Courage the Cowardly Dog. Great show. Look it up. Amazing. Ed, and Eddie. Kids Next Door. All those shows were great. And that's not me being an unk. Or being an old head. These are all fucking classics. 100%. Billy and Mandy, classic. Classic.
Miranda didn't even understand how massive this opportunity was. When I really understood I was acting, since I did it from the time I was so little, I never thought of it as a job, and I didn't realize that everybody didn't do it. Miranda was so innocent, not even knowing she was working, compared to Jennette, who became painfully aware of her reality as her mother taught her how to starve herself to secure more acting roles to pay the bills. It's shocking to learn of Miranda's innocence, considering her character on Drake and Josh was borderline evil. Drake and Josh aired on Nickelodeon from 2004 to 2007, and follows two teenage boys who become stepbrothers after their parents get married. The two boys could not be more opposite. However, they would bond in fear of their cunning and mischievous little sister, Megan. Megan takes great pleasure in tormenting her older brothers.
What makes you think that I would have the baby?
Because you're a devious, twisted little girl.
Why, thank you, Drake.
While she appears sweet and innocent to adults, she is secretly always plotting elaborate schemes to outsmart Drake and Josh.
No way. You just hustled me.
No, I didn't. I just pretended to be bad so that you'd bet me, and then I stopped being bad and I took your money.
That's hustling.
There's a word for it? Cool.
Miranda's devious charm helped solidify Drake and Josh as the most beloved and influential live-action sitcom on Nickelodeon at the time, drawing in millions of viewers per episode, peaking at 5.8 million viewers for its highest-rated special. Miranda's parents were wary of the impact that fame could have on their daughter, so they did everything they could to maintain a normal lifestyle, such as choosing to still live in the house where Miranda was born, and her father continuing to work every day at his dry cleaning business. Her parents also tried to keep Miranda in public school.
In elementary school, I just remember thinking, wow, I'm popular. All of a sudden, I don't think I was thinking about it too much. And I remember, like, the kid that I had a crush on who didn't know I existed all of a sudden talked to me. Like, I think I just thought things were coming up roses.
However, by the time she reached 6th grade, her acting schedule clashed with her education, and Miranda needed to make a huge decision. It took a lot for my mom to give in. I remember her asking, "Are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to stay in acting?" And all
Good parent. Oh my god, good parent. It feels so good. Now, I know we're going to get back to Jennette McCurdy, which is going to make me sad again. But man, it feels so good to finally hear that a parent in Hollywood actually gives a fuck about their kid. It is so hard to just sit here and watch these again and again and again, seeing just terrible parent after terrible parent. Makes me realize about my dad who went to the store to get some milk, and I guess my birth mother who went right along with him. But damn, it does feel good to know that there are good parents out there. They exist. Maybe the world ain't so harsh, huh? There are good parents in the world.
Also notice that 10 and 11-year-old Miranda Cosgrove actually had a choice, something that most other child actors don't have. She ultimately chose to pursue acting and leave a normal life behind. Miranda immediately transitioned to private schooling on set with Drake and Josh.
I remember when I was doing schooling, at first you guys were with me, and then within 6 months, you both were no longer. I don't remember if it was because you graduated or if it was because I kept saying to my mom, where did Drake and Josh go?
Kevin, the teacher, you remember Kevin?
Oh, Kevin Mall, I remember him, yes.
Kevin Mall.
Oh, he used to make me raise my hand. I was the only one when you guys left in the classroom.
They made you raise your hand and you were the only one in the classroom?
Yes, he said he was preparing me if I ever had to go back to regular school.
Most child actors in Miranda's position, like Jennette, feel extremely isolated, missing out on normal childhood experiences while they spend long hours on set under the intense pressure to perform. Their social circles are typically limited to co-stars, adults, and industry professionals, which never gives them a break from essentially this made-up fantasy world they live in. But Miranda's parents made key decisions that set her on a much different path than Jennette. The California Labor Code, Section 1308.5, requires that a parent or legal guardian be present at all times when a minor is working in the entertainment industry. Since Miranda's mom was always hovering around her on set, she kept her in check. In one instance, Miranda unintentionally ignored someone leaving her dressing room, and her mother made sure she acknowledged their presence and said goodbye. "Miranda," Chris said sharply, "someone said goodbye to you." Cosgrove stopped short and turned around. "Oh, I'm so sorry," she said earnestly. "Goodbye. It was nice to meet you." It may seem small, but enforcing normal social rules and instilling discipline into a child who could have easily turned into a diva is likely what helped Miranda become so normal.
I actually do cuss a little.
Do you?
Also, yeah.
What's your favorite curse word?
Probably.
Drake and Josh ended when Miranda...
No, you gotta say that with some bass in your voice. Fuck. I gotta learn how to, like, pull back on the swearing, because right now, I'm not getting monetized. I probably won't get monetized for the next, like, 6 months. I'm slowly growing, and I'm happy with every subscriber that I get. Like, 215, I think I'm at this point, so thank you guys. I didn't think I'd get to that point of being at like 200 some subscribers, but the more I go up, I think I have to hit 500 in order to get subscribed to. If I stay on this path, it took me like 4 or 5 months to get to 215, so maybe 5 more months to get to 500, maybe another month to actually start getting monetized on shit. So I'm gonna try to tone back my swearing a little bit. But until then, fuck, shit, bitch, slut, fuck. Let's go.
Miranda was just 14 years old. With plenty of years ahead of her and obvious star power as a child actor, Nickelodeon had no choice but to build a new show around Miranda. That show would bring together 2 young girls who were living drastically different lives behind the scenes. Dan Schneider, who was the head producer, writer, and creator at
Fuck this marshmallow man looking ass guy. Bro, look at you. Look at you. Your body is rejecting you. That is how disgusting of a person you are. Ugh.
Nickelodeon originally planned to create a show where Miranda plays a normal girl who gets cast to star in her favorite TV show called Starstruck. However, he would ultimately scrap the idea and begin the development for iCarly, a show about a group of teenagers running their own online web show, long before YouTubers and social media influencers became household names.
We're gonna make spaghetti tacos! A dish invented by my brother Spencer, whose real name is Letitia McPeanuts.
iCarly was way ahead of its time because it predicted the rise of online entertainment and showed how young people could build an audience outside of traditional media platforms. iCarly also had a real website where they asked fans to submit content and participate in challenges. The show's humor, quirky characters, and fast-paced storytelling feels like you are watching a kids-oriented YouTube channel or Twitch show, except with an unreasonable amount of foot jokes.
And this week we found the biggest weirdo yet. There he is, peeling a banana while he waits for the bus. Now, you think he's gonna eat the banana, right? Well, think again! Yep, there he goes. Doing the peel. What a freak. And that's why the new champion of Who's That Weirdo in My Neighborhood is Crazy Fruit Dude!
Miranda portrayed a character that was similar to her real-life personality. Sweet, wholesome, and silly. Jennette's character, Sam, almost hit a little too close to home. Sam Puckett was known for her tough, no-nonsense attitude, sarcastic humor, and rebellious spirit.
I got kicked out of the cafeteria for slapping Debbie with a piece of pizza.
Why did you slap Gibby with a piece of pizza?
I found it on the floor. I wasn't gonna eat it.
However, the writers included a darker side to Sam, making her one of the most complex characters on the show. She can definitely be seen as problematic and borderline toxic at times, frequently resorting to physical violence which could make her seem like a straight-up bully.
I don't see a car. All I hear is a lot of prattle, and
She can also be manipulative, pressuring Carly into decisions that could get her friend in trouble. But looking beneath that layer, you can also see Sam as a victim of self-destructive behavior, especially considering her on-screen relationship with her mom, which again, I should remind you that nobody knew her struggles with her real mother. Her iCarly mom, Pam, was irresponsible and often absent. Sam was constantly locked out of her house, finding her own food, and was clearly lacking guidance, which may have forced Sam to develop a tough exterior.
Mom?
I feel like if you're a director of a show, you should probably like understand the background of the actors that you're hiring onto said show, so you can understand what might necessarily. I know I'm gonna sound like Logan Paul here. Like Logan Paul said, I don't want to sound woke or anything, but no, in all seriousness, when it comes to your actors, you want to know what triggers them. You want to know what upsets them. You want to know what's something they probably wouldn't be comfortable really diving into. What type of material might hit way too close to home, such as something like this. Because that's something a good director would do that cares about their actors. But again, we all know Dan Snyder cares about his actors' feet more than he cares about his actors' feelings. So there's that.
I know who I am. I love you, Mother. What, you think I don't love you?
You never say it.
Well, it's not easy to say I love you to a daughter who thinks I'm, scummy.
I don't think you're scummy. All the time.
Really?
Yeah, really.
iCarly is considered by many to be the greatest Nickelodeon live-action show in history, and the numbers would agree. The series averaged over 6 million viewers at its peak, and the most watched episode, I Saved Your Life, aired to 11.2 million viewers, which is the second most viewed telecast in Nickelodeon history. You would think Miranda and Jennette were on top of the world, but a decade later, we would find out the horrors going on behind the scenes. In Jennette's memoir that was released in 2022, she describes the grim experience working with the creator, which many have interpreted to be Dan Schneider. McCurdy wrote that the creator was mean-spirited, controlling, and terrifying, firing children over basic mistakes and making grown men and women cry with his insults and degradation. You can see a glimpse of this alleged behavior as Dan often walked around the set with his own personal camera, filming behind-the-scenes content to share on his personal blog, danwarp.com.
Stop laughing at the director. Show some respect, Jennette. Respect. No smiling. All right. Take $100 off her check.
Although it seems like he is just joking, knowing what Jennette was feeling inside drastically changes the perspective of a clip like this. Jennette also made major accusations that Schneider supplied minors with alcohol, quoting him as saying, "The Victorious kids get drunk together all the time. The iCarly kids are so wholesome. We need to give you guys a little edge." This allegation...
That's crazy. That's fucking crazy. Okay, I know Dan Schneider is alive. Back to Google real quick. Is Dan Schneider being investigated for anything? Wait, is he alive? Yes, 59. Okay, he's alive. Has there been any charges, investigation, anything? He filed a defamation legal case, but there's been, like, no case. This is what I don't understand, right? Like, you'll have people. They'll have, like, investigations opened up on them. They'll have people who will be dragged through the mud. And it all ends with them, like, never committing anything or being thrown in jail for something they didn't do. I saw a story of a man who lost, like, 20 to 30 years of his life because he was lied upon by two girls because the two girls were having sexual relations with their cousin. Believe it or not, and they were too scared to admit that, so they told their parents it was actually with some random black dude, and that dude ended up losing 20 years of his life. We ended up getting DNA, whatever the case may be, and his alibis weren't accepted because, you know, his alibis were biased. They threw his alibis out. They couldn't be accepted on bullshit court rulings. Then, 20 years later, DNA came out, with the case, everything came out with the case, and it turns out they were lying. Shocker. And it turns out that he wasn't even in the vicinity at the time. Shocker. And they just gathered up a group of guys, and the girls even at the time said they weren't sure who did it because it was the fucking cousin. They wasn't sure who did it, so they just picked the only one that was in handcuffs because they left him in handcuffs because he was last in the line. So we'll have cops go through all this mess. And I understand that's back in the day, even 20, 30 years ago. Back in the day, you know, times were a little different, but hell, 20, 30 years ago is like the 90s. But still, times were different. DNA was just starting to come out. Cameras were not the greatest. Alibis weren't usually accepted. Cops were kind of dickheads with their jobs. I get all that. But damn, if we're able to do that, and then 20 years later let him go, it's like, oh, fuck, we made a mistake. Why can't we, like, I don't know, investigate someone like this? Investigate this guy. So many people have come out. Drake has come out. A documentary was made. He's about to say something. Jennette McCurdy has come out. Miranda Cosgrove has come out. How many people got to come out before you say, okay, we'll investigate? I don't know why that's so hard. Does that mean he's 100% guilty? No, but investigate. Is that so hard? Is that so hard? Just investigate the claims. Look into it. There should be mountains of evidence. All the shit that's going on. Investigate. Do your fucking job. But we're not going to do that. We're going to let him open a defamation case that's going to drag whoever made that documentary through the mud for a while in the court system. They'll probably lose that defamation case, or they'll either settle on that defamation case, depending on how long it takes. And we'll go from there. Like, that's what we'll do. We'll let Dan Snyder drag a documentary owner through the mud because he said he was a bad guy, and we're just gonna sit there and wait and see how that turns out. But we're not gonna investigate Dan Snyder. God forbid we actually do our jobs here, because that's stupid.
And may have been corroborated by the actor who portrayed Beck on Victorious, who posted a TikTok that read, "When you don't remember the plotline to a single Victorious episode, but you remember going out partying every night." Jennette even claimed that Dan would provide unsolicited shoulder massages or demand others to give him massages, to which Dan admitted to.
Let's talk about the massages.
Okay.
Watching the content yesterday, it was disturbing.
It was wrong. It was wrong that I ever put anybody in that position. It was the wrong thing to do. I'd never do it today. I'm embarrassed that I did it then. I apologize to anybody that I ever put in that situation. And even additionally, I apologize to the people who were walking around Video Village or wherever they happened, because there were lots of people there who witnessed it who also may have felt uncomfortable. So I owe them an apology as well.
Looking back.
Okay. Is that not enough? Is that enough to open an investigation? That is all that's being asked here. Is that so hard? Just open an investigation. The fact that he was even admitting to the fact that he walked around and made people give him massages, he's admitting to a portion of the story that's there. That doesn't mean everything else is true, right? Just because one thing is true doesn't mean everything is true. But that should be enough to go, huh, okay, if he admitted to this one thing, we should go ahead and look into everything else, because this is a little bit of a red flag. Like, come on, dude.
On some of the behind-the-scenes content with new context, many perceive Dan to be too handsy and touchy. Look at how Miranda steps away from Dan and he proceeds to make his way around her back and hugs her from behind as she seemingly freezes up. However, still to this day, Miranda has never spoken out against Dan Schneider, so we don't know if she truly had any traumatic experiences working under him. However, we do know that iCarly was the foundation of Miranda and Jennette's friendship, even though Jennette's mother tried everything she could to prevent it. Jennette writes, "On set, Miranda said cuss words like and ass, and she took the Lord's name in vain at least 50 times a day. Mom warned me not to get too close to Miranda because she doesn't believe in God."
Jesus, really? Interesting. That's crazy. That is so crazy. She says ass and shit. Now please, eat your dressing with salad spray. Spray only.
And explained how her mother skewed her view of female friendships since she would cast them in a negative light.
My mom was always saying, men will never really know you and they'll hurt you, but women will know you deeply and then they'll hurt you. You tell me which is worse.
As a result, Jennette was cautious around other girls, but by now she was a teenager, and even her mother's manipulative tactics couldn't prevent her from getting close with Miranda. Miranda and I spent hours talking every day. Even though in person Miranda seemed shy and quiet, she had a distinct and hilarious personality through her written words. So many of the things she said made me laugh. Her way of observing things, people, habits, human nature. I loved her, and I was so excited we were becoming friends. Jennette kept the dark reality of her home life a secret. She hid it from Miranda, and from everyone. So the fact that her and Miranda truly became friends eliminated the idea that it could have been out of pity. It was genuine.
My best friend is Jennette McCurdy, who was on iCarly with me, and we live really close to each other, and we have sleepovers all the time, and like I literally see her like every other day.
I'm very grateful for that friendship. It did provide me a lot of comfort in those really challenging years. My relationship with Miranda was hugely healing to my concept of women.
Jennette's time spent with Miranda provided some much-needed relief from her chaotic personal life. Sadly, it was only temporary, as their journeys were about to go in very different directions after the end of iCarly.
The atmosphere literally couldn't be better. It's like one huge family. We all get along great. I can't think of any group of people that I'd rather get to see every day. And even though I'll see them all the time, knowing that I won't see everybody every day anymore is awful.
At the height of her fame, Miranda earned $180,000 per episode of iCarly, and she was going to use that money to fund her next venture. Jennette, on the other hand, doesn't know what happened to the money.
Did you get to keep?
Oh my god, what a disgusting human being. Her mother, of course, if you guys are confused about who I'm calling disgusting here. I don't understand how these people can exist. I know I sound a little bit like a broken record, but this hits a little home to me. I was never treated like that. It hits home to me knowing that I had parents that did not care about me. I didn't have to deal with that. Honestly, being abandoned by my parents feels a lot better than going through all the bullshit she went through. I'm going to keep it a bean with you. I'm going to keep it a bean with you. And even though my dad kind of abandoned me later in life, I will say, even when he was there, he wasn't. And the bullshit he put me through is nowhere near the bullshit she got put through. It's just insane to think, like, everybody views parents sometimes like we can't judge them and we can't tell them they're wrong, and if we're not a parent, we shouldn't be allowed to tell them if they're doing bad parenting. I actually got in an argument, funny enough, on social media about this with different parents. It's like, oh, do you have a kid? And you shouldn't be speaking on this. And it's just like, bro, why is that a thing? Like, we don't accept that with anything else, right? We have NBA analysts that study the game of basketball, that watched hours upon hours of basketball in order to make a good opinion on a basketball player's play, right? We have different teachers that may study different subjects and understand them deeply in order to teach future lawyers, right? We got professors that will study the law and understand the law and deeply be inundated in the law. And maybe they never became a lawyer per se, but, you know, they know more than enough to teach lawyers to become lawyers themselves. And I could keep going with different things, but it's like, why do we not accept this with other shit, with other things in life? But we want to accept this with parenting? I should not have to be a parent to look at you abusing your child and say, hey, you probably shouldn't fucking do that. Like, I really need to be a parent to know that starving your child's a bad thing. I don't think anyone has to have a kid to know that's a bad thing. But yeah, I just don't know why some parents feel like parents are just infallible. We can't touch them. We can't talk about them unless you are a parent. I don't believe in that. If you're a terrible parent, I believe you should be called out. And I believe you should be called out by other people. And you don't have to be a parent to be called out. Period.
This money, or did all I'm curious about, like, the dynamic of how that worked.
Well, there's a thing called the Coogan account that actually takes, or is supposed to take 15% of your money off the top and kind of put it into the child's account so that they can have at least 15% of their money by the time they're 18, and the rest of the money is kind of up for grabs. Got these papers that were saying that, like, the Coogan account information was never properly filed. I got that in my 20s, so that was kind of a little bit of a shock because I really have no idea kind of what was happening, and, you know, my mom was in control of everything, so I don't think I ever saw the Coogan account money.
Additionally, Miranda released chart-topping music, performed concerts nationwide, and received several major brand deals. Cosgrove got to reap all of the benefits of being a child star, seemingly without being exposed to the horrors that come with it. And that's largely due to her parents refusing to fall victim to the complexities of raising a famous kid. After iCarly ended its 6th season, Miranda decided not to pursue a full-time Hollywood career. Instead of securing more mature roles and trying to prove herself in the industry, she decided to use her acting money to pay for college.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure I'm probably going to still be living with my parents for a while because I want to go to USC really bad. So,
oh, you do?
Yeah, and it's not far from where I live.
Okay. And why do you want to go to college? You're already very wealthy, and I see no reason to get an education. It's just how I look at it.
My dad went to USC, so he wants me to go there really bad.
Mm-hmm. Did your dad have a hit show on Nickelodeon when he was a kid?
No.
No?
No, he's not drinking.
And what do you want to study when you go there?
I'm not sure. I was thinking film. That's what I'm really
all right. Okay,
yeah.
Well, it all fits in the whole
deal.
deal.
Yeah, they have a good film department, too.
Miranda did end up
This is a good attitude to have, okay? That's just called good parenting, right? If I have a kid, and let's say, because I would do whatever I can. If I end up having a kid, it's because I made sure my life is in such a good spot that they will never have to beg for anything. They'll have to ask, but they'll never have to beg. And that's the main thing with me as far as me wanting a kid. I want to make sure that they are in stability. They are happy. And everything they could ever want is given. You know, they may not have the most expensive things in the world, but they will have most of the things they want. They may not have every trink and tranny that all the kids have at school, all the little trinkets and toys, but they have all the cool toys that other kids may not have. That's the way I see it. So I would make sure that I do my best to work my life as hard as I can to make sure that their life is something that they don't have to really struggle for much. But also teach them that they have to work hard and build their life up. So let's say my kid ends up being successful at this internet shit. He succeeds where I fail, okay? Ends up being successful. And it's like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this streaming shit full time. I'd be like, listen, when I started doing streaming, didn't kick off for me, but when I started doing streaming, I made sure I went to college, I did my job, and I was married. I'm not saying you got to get a job. Your streaming shit's clearly working for you. I'm okay with that. I'm happy for you. I still want you to go to school, though. And maybe instead of 4 years, it takes you 5 years to finish a degree so you can have some time for your streaming stuff, but I still want you to get a degree. I don't care how good you are at your YouTube shit, get a degree. That's how I would be. And that's how good parents are, because they want to make sure that they have that in their back pocket. You don't have to do one or the other. You can do both. And even Shaq's mother, funny enough, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, Shaq was told he had to get his degree. His mom said, get your degree. He was projected to be out, like 1 year and out. But they said, no, get your degree. You're getting your degree. Then you can go to the league. And then he ended up being in the league, and we all know how Shaq was. So I'm just saying, it's good to have parents that kind of push you to be successful, but also don't stray you away from your dream. Go for your dream, but always make sure that you're being smart with your life at the same time.
Attending the University of Southern California, where she switched majors several times before landing on psychology. She even admitted that her fame helped her make new friends on campus, but her fame also made her a target, as she had multiple stalkers who got dangerously close to her. A crazy fan named Joshua Stockton allegedly started tracking Cosgrove's every move using clues from social media posts. According to TMZ, he reportedly went to her campus at USC to see her. He also sent Miranda gifts and later got upset because the packages returned unopened. He also tweeted a photo of his bandaged wrist with the caption, "Frankly, I'm tired of love, and my heart is ready to give out. Maybe I'll finish the job I started." She was granted a restraining order against the crazy fan, but then 1 year later, he violated it as he followed her on a trip to Disneyland. Joshua Stockton was given 3 years probation and will be required to complete a 1-year treatment program, including extensive psychiatric counseling. As if this wasn't scary enough, Miranda had a close call with another stalker who nearly took her life.
We saw some movie, and then afterwards it was raining, and it never hardly ever rains in LA. So I was kind of like, I don't want to go back to my place, even though my place is pretty close to Arclight. Anyway, I went to my parents' house, and then I got a call at like 3 a.m. that somebody had died at my house. And it was the weirdest thing ever, because they had caution tape up, and it was right in my front yard. And basically, I guess a guy came, and he was burying things in my backyard for 3 days. He buried a lunchbox with a milk chocolate inside of it in my backyard. And then he buried knives and a rope and a bunch of random stuff. I found out later that all that stuff was there, and that he had been pacing my backyard with a gun. He also looked crazy, he was wearing this long trench coat. But yeah, he was just pacing in my backyard, I guess. And because I have security cameras, so later when we looked, we figured out he was back there for 6 hours or something, waiting. And then somebody drove up that had a similar car, that kind of looked like my car, and I guess he got confused and he thought that maybe it was me driving up. It's just bad luck. And he shot at this person 6 times, and he missed because she was in a car. She drove away, and then he set himself on fire and he shot himself simultaneously. And then later, so I got a call at 3 or 4 in the morning. This happened probably at 1 in the morning. I got a call at 3 or 4 in the morning saying where are you? Can you come to your house, because someone themselves there. And they were trying to just put it all together, and they still haven't really put it all together, why it happened, or what the person was doing. And then it was crazy too, they found his car a few blocks away, and there was blood and hair in the trunk, and they were oh, he's probably a serial killer. But they never figured out exactly the story.
Although this experience
What? What the fuck? They couldn't figure out who the blood and hair belonged to? That is bananas. Just so you guys know, though, the way DNA works, your DNA has to be in the system in order for your DNA to really hit, right? I just find it crazy because it's kind of hard to... I think your DNA is in the system if you get arrested. But I think there's other ways that your DNA could be in the system too. I think dental records, but I guess you wouldn't get that from hair. Yeah, no, I guess it would be extremely difficult to actually know who the hair belonged to unless that person was arrested, the hair on the blood, or that person was ever fingerprinted, I guess. Damn, that is crazy. Holy shit. Oh my god. It's actually extremely disturbing and extremely sad that we're never going to know who he could have, hurt and abused, considering that's probably not his hair or blood. Damn. This is that. I don't understand how you got a gun. People like this exist, and it just blows my mind, because it's just one of those things that I will never understand how in their brain what they're doing makes sense. And it's like, I can sit here and say, oh, that's a crazy guy. He is crazy. I'm not, before anybody starts yelling at me, this is no defense of him. This is just me trying to understand why. We need to figure that out. I feel like if we figure that out, we get less people like him, or we figure out how to fix people like him so they don't end up hurting more people. Because it just doesn't, why is it, what's going on in here that makes them think like this is okay? Like, what I'm doing makes sense. What I'm doing is good. Like, that shit is crazy.
Would probably lead to lifelong trauma from others. Miranda was more upset that he prevented her from meeting new friends.
But so a couple days before the incident with the guy that came to my house, I had never met the guy before, but he came to my house, and this was years ago too, and tried to kill me. So 2 days before that happened, I had the study group at my house, and the whole time I was inside trying to get these girls to think I was cool and like me and want me to be in the group, this guy was actually in my backyard with a gun, pacing back and forth in my backyard the entire time.
Oh my God.
And
All the girls were there?
Yes, with me and all the girls studying and me bringing food in and trying to win them over. Because later, when everything happened and the police came, they checked the security footage. And so 2 days before, he had already been there.
While you were first trying to have friends, there was a man with a gun in your backyard.
And then the police had to call all of the girls because for a split second they didn't know who he was. So they were trying to figure out his identity. So they called all the girls thinking maybe it was one of their ex-boyfriends or somehow related to them. And
you're like, please don't call my friends. Please don't call my friends.
I was like, please just leave them out of this. They don't have to know. They don't have to be a part of this. I don't really know them anymore.
How do you think? They're like, we went to our house once and we almost died.
With the exception of the stalkers, Cosgrove regained a sense of normalcy in the real world, while McCurdy stayed trapped inside the Nickelodeon hellscape.
Hey, Dan Schneider. I know you're watching my Vine. Do you like my Vine? Vine. Look what you've done to me.
In August of 2012, Schneider took a fan favorite from iCarly, Sam Puckett, and a fan favorite from Victorious, Cat Valentine, and created a teen sitcom titled Sam and Cat. The pilot debuted on Nickelodeon to 4.2 million viewers and was surprisingly popular, but it only lasted one season and was canceled following controversy behind the scenes. You see, Jennette says that Schneider originally promised a show centered around her Sam Puckett character. So are you excited to have your own show? The creator asks. Sure, that's it? No, of course I'm excited. I'm so excited. Good. Because I could give a new show to anyone, but I didn't choose anyone. I chose you.
Dude, this is some manipulative language type bullshit right here. It's like, you like what I gave you? You like what I gave you? I can take that away at any second. You understand that? Everything I give you is temporary. Everything I hand to you is temporary. Everything that you own is temporary. I can take all that away from you. All of it in a matter of seconds. So you better thank me. Bow on your knees. Praise me like the God I am. Like, that's disturbing to even think about. It's disturbing language. It's disturbing shit. And I don't understand. Again, I don't get how he wasn't at least investigated. It's not so much to ask for. I'm not saying automatically arrest him, throw him into jail, whatever. It's just so hard. You guys will investigate shit. Random shit. All the time. You'll investigate if someone's dog is off a leash, running around. You'll be like, oh, that dog's off a leash. You'll have a cop pull up and you'll investigate that. I remember that I left my trunk? This was in my beater. I think it was my trunk. I left my trunk open. That's all I did. I left my trunk open. I get a fucking knock at the door. This is like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I open the door. Like, hey, you're the owner of that piece of shit car down there? But no, they obviously found my address through the license plate. But they're like, yeah, you the owner of that car down there? Yeah. Yeah. Your trunk is open. Okay. I go walk down. He walks down with me. I'm freaking out. Because I'm like, did someone dump a body in my trunk or something? Am I going to jail right now? Why is he walking with me? Why is there 2 cops on the side? What is happening? I close my trunk. I turn around. He looks at me. I look at him. I don't know what to do now. And he just goes, yeah, so a lot of people are stealing cars here. So you got to be careful at my apartment complex. So, like, there's a lot of people stealing cars. You know, we had like 3-4 reports in the last few months of a stolen car. So be careful. Okay. Drove off. I was like, what was that? What? You couldn't just close the trunk? Are you kidding me? You could have just... That's all you had to do. You just... That's it. That's it. What do you think I was going to do? Run fingers print swabs on the top of my car? You're like, aha, the police illegally touched my vehicle. Like, what are we doing, bro? So if you guys are willing to do that, I think at the very least you can investigate somebody. Jesus.
But Dan's promises were empty, as the solo show turned into a sort of buddy comedy alongside Ariana Grande. Jennette and Ariana just barely tolerated each other, mostly because of Schneider's manipulative tactics and the obvious favoritism towards Ariana.
My co-star Ariana Grande is a burgeoning pop star who misses work regularly to go sing at award shows, record new songs, and do press for her upcoming album, while I stay back and angrily hold down the fort. I understand on a surface level why she has to miss work, but at the same time, I don't understand why she's allowed to. I booked 2 features during iCarly that I had to turn down because the iCarly team wouldn't write me out of episodes to go shoot them. Then this week happened. The week where I was told Ariana would not be here at all, and that they would write around her absence this episode by having her character be locked in a box. Are you kidding me? So I have to turn down movies while Ariana's off whistle-toning at the Billboard Music Awards? Fuck this. Ariana misses work in pursuit of her music career, while I act with a box. If I wasn't such a good sport, I wouldn't be in this predicament in the first place. I wouldn't be on this shitty show saying these shitty lines on this shitty set with this shitty hairstyle. I'm pissed about it. And I'm pissed at her. Jealous of her.
It's easy to see how Jennette built up resentment towards her co-star. Every time something exciting happens to her, I feel like she robbed me of having that experience myself. As if Jennette's internal struggle wasn't hard enough, her mother Deborah passed away losing her battle with breast cancer. Near the end of her life, Deborah wrote Jennette a shocking email containing things that no mother should ever say to her child.
Dear Net, I am so disappointed in you. You used to be my perfect little angel, but now you are nothing more than a little, all caps, floozy, all used up.
Oh, man. Let's let it finish. Let's let it finish before I respond.
And to think, you wasted it on that hideous ogre of a man. I saw the pictures on a website called TMZ. I saw you rubbing his disgusting hairy stomach. I knew you were lying about Colton. I had told her I was with a friend, Colton. Add that to the list of things you are. Liar, conniving, evil. You look pudgier too. It's clear you're eating your guilt. Thinking of you with his ding-dong inside of you makes me sick. Sick. I raised you better than this. What happened to my good little girl? Where did she go? And who is this monster that has replaced her? You're an ugly monster now. I told your brothers about you, and they all said they disown you just like I do. We want nothing to do with you. Love, Mom. Or should I say Deb, since I am no longer your mother. P.S. Send money for a new fridge. Ours broke.
Losing...
Ads! Oh, there's no way. There's no way. There's no way, no how. There's not a single way. There's not a single way. No fucking way, bro. Are you serious? Are you fucking kidding me? Hey, you're a piece of shit. I hate you. I think you're disgusting. I think you're gross. I hate you. I want you to take your life. You're so dumb. Never loved you. Not even my daughter. I'm not your mother. Send money for a fridge. What? How can you end an email like that? Holy fuck. Again, this proceeds for me to question, how is it that parents like this exist? And you think that I'm not allowed to talk shit about this parent? Fuck out of here, bro. I don't care how bad Jennette McCurdy would have been. Because everybody's like, there's 2 sides to every story. And that is absolutely true. That is absolutely true. Maybe she sucked as a kid. Maybe she was an asshole kid. Maybe she swore a lot. That does not give you... There is nothing she could have done that warrants this type of response. Nothing. Not a single fucking thing. I'm sorry. So yeah, I'm allowed to talk about parents. Everybody's allowed to talk about parents, especially when they're parents like this. This is disgusting, gross behavior.
Losing a parent is already hard, but what about losing an abusive parent that wholeheartedly admitted they want nothing to do with you? As you can imagine, this sent Jennette's life into a dark place. To compound the stress, McCurdy was the victim of an invasion of privacy when explicit selfies of her surfaced on the internet, which ultimately led to Nickelodeon canceling Sam and Cat, claiming both actresses desired to move on to other projects. Following her mother's passing, Jennette began to struggle with an eating disorder as well as an addiction to alcohol.
As the show was airing, her mother died of cancer. Jennette says her life was spinning out of control, anorexia morphing into bulimia and alcohol abuse.
I was never aiming for bulimia. I was attempting to have anorexia, but I couldn't keep it up without my mom. So then that would lead to, I'd starve myself for so long, and then I'd binge, and then I'd purge because I hated the feeling of fullness. Hated it.
But Jennette remained strong. She was not going to let her trauma destroy the rest of her life. She first sought professional help for her eating disorder.
I started with an eating disorder specialist, so it was very clinical, and we didn't get into trauma or childhood stuff. We didn't get into any of that, and I think I needed that at the time because I think I needed to get that addiction under control before being able to go anywhere near like excavating the stuff from the past. I think that would have fueled the addiction if I were working on that in tandem with the addiction.
Jennette knew that addressing and treating the critical aspect of her health was going to be hard enough. So once that treatment helped her regain her strength, then it was time to dive into the complexities of her childhood.
First therapist Laura started asking questions about my mom. Immediately I went into, well, she did this, but it's because she's such a good mom. It's because she wanted me to be successful. It's because she wanted me to have a better life. Like, I didn't even realize that I was at the time, but in retrospect I see, I was disclaiming every single thing that my mom did instead of just stating the reality or how I felt about it. I was more concerned with how to keep my mom looking good than I was with expressing my true emotional reality.
Jennette's journey to restoring her health and well-being was not something that a few therapy sessions would fix, and even after she has spent years working at it, it never truly goes away. Jennette decided to retire from acting in 2016. However, she did write and direct a few short films that are very much inspired by her childhood, but nobody truly knew the severity of her deep emotional hardships until she released her 2022 memoir, I'm Glad My Mom Died. The shocking title doesn't necessarily mean Jennette is celebrating her mother's death, but it does reflect her complicated emotions, grief, relief, and the pain of losing someone who also caused her harm. Her mom's passing meant the end of her control and abuse, finally giving Jennette the chance to heal. The reality is, mourning an abusive parent isn't always simple. Sometimes sadness and relief exist at the same time. And millions of people around the world supported Jennette's vulnerability. Putting something this deep and complicated out to the world is not easy. Her memoir sold over 200,000 copies across all formats in its first week, and as of today, she has sold over 2 million copies.
Babies. Number one, baby. I'm scared. I don't like blood noises. Okay, yeah. I'm scared. Okay. I hate. This is a bad idea. I hate loud noises. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah.
Around the same time, Paramount Plus also announced the plan to make a reboot of iCarly, but many were disappointed to learn that Jennette would not be reprising her role as Sam Puckett.
I just want to make things again.
You don't need a partner to do that.
Yeah, I don't need a partner. I need Sam. But she's off following her bliss with that biker gang.
The Obliterators. Hope she's okay.
It's Sam. I hope they're okay.
When Jennette said she was done with acting definitively, and the baggage that came with it, she meant it, but her castmates respected her decision.
And we all really wanted Jennette to be a part of the show in real life, but she's just doing other things, and we're really happy for her. But yeah, we're definitely going to touch on that in the show.
Is the elevator door still open that if Jennette wanted to come back as Sam for an episode, could that happen?
Anytime.
I mean, that elevator door is always open. It never closed. But again, we want to be respectful of her and the decisions that we make. So obviously, no pressure, of course, but whatever she wants to do. We love her. That's all she needs to know.
Not only did Jennette not return to the show that made fans around the world love her,
I think it's fair that she didn't want to do content that made her like depressed in the first place. It's one of those things where it's just like kind of taking a knife that's already been in your back and now you're twisting it. Like, I don't think she has anything necessarily wrong with the people on the show or the people who were part of the show. I think it's more the case of, man, this has been like a disturbing, disgusting, terrible part of my life that I really want to just forget. So I'd rather not sit here and bring that part up again. So I'm not going to do this show. So it's just respect to her. I honestly would have liked to see her in the reboot. I didn't see much of the reboot. I'm going to be honest, I wasn't that interested. I don't know if it's because Sam's character wasn't there. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I'm one of those people where it's like, if you're going to reboot something, it's got to be a full-on. If you're going to reboot something, everybody's got to come back. Everybody and their mama got to come back. Because if it's just like 2 or 3 people, I kind of lose interest. Whatever the case may be, I don't know if the show's even going on anymore. As far as I know, is there still like episodes of iCarly? Should I just type in iCarly? Is it called iCarly? Should I just say new episodes? New episodes? New season? The reboot. The 2021 reboot. It was canceled after 3 seasons. Okay, so they're done. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to really do any type of reboot of any sort and actually have it be successful, especially if you're not able to bring the person back. And I think it could be a lot of people just feeling guilt watching the show. I'm not even going to say that the show was bad, but I can understand a lot of fans who, I mean, she sold like 2 million books. She told her story at this point. A lot of people understand the pain that she went through, and now we gotta go watch iCarly knowing all the shit that she's been through. It's not boycotting the show, but it's like, damn, am I really gonna feel good? It's knowing your audience, dog. And it's like, am I gonna feel good watching this show knowing that one of the co-stars is literally not here because of all the pain they went through because of this show? So it was probably doomed to fail, even if it was amazing. I'm not shocked it got canceled. It's pretty good that it lasted 3 seasons. Maybe it was good. But it's hard to really get your fans to really watch something, especially if they know in the background, damn, she went through a lot. And I don't know how good I feel watching this shit, knowing that one of the co-stars went through a lot of shit. And that's the whole reason they're not even on the show that I'm currently watching. So, yeah, I don't think it was bad blood between any of the stars. Just, you know, when you're going through a bad shit, it's kind of hard to go back to that shit that was bad.
She said she wouldn't even watch it because of the demons it might bring back. And although it's heartbreaking that the thing that fans around the world fell in love with her for is the exact same thing that caused her so much pain and suffering, it is comforting to know that she does still cherish one part about her time as a child actor, and that is her friendship that she made with Miranda Cosgrove.
Oh my god, I love Miranda to pieces. I always will. She has such a special place in my heart. She helped me grow as a person and heal as a person, and I hope I did the same for her, and I just love her so much.
That's good. I'm happy to hear that she was actually able to get some friendships off of this, especially stepping away from her mother. Jesus Christ, but nonetheless, this was a good video. I liked it. Learned some shit about her that I did not know. Patrick CC always coming out with bangers, so that was some good shit. I just hope in the future, like, these parents can actually be good parents, because this is actually just disgusting. I don't understand how so many parents are on the verge of just being disgusting, despicable, disturbing human beings. But until next time, friends, if you got anything you want me to react to, please like, comment, subscribe, let me know, and I will do so. But until next time, I love you, I'll see you, peace out, goodbye, stay safe, be smart, be smooth.